When you hold back from telling people exactly what you do, you tap into one of the most powerful human drivers: curiosity. People are not naturally drawn to what they fully understand. They are drawn to mystery, to the unknown, to the unexplainable force that makes them lean forward and wonder. When you walk into a room and you begin to share every single detail of your work, your title, your schedule, and your routine, you leave nothing for the imagination. But when you allow silence to do the talking, when you choose to reveal less, something shifts in the atmosphere. People start to ask themselves, who is this person? What do they really do? Why do I feel this sense of presence about them? That question mark in their minds becomes your power, because curiosity is a magnet, and it is a magnet that pulls people toward you, without you chasing, without you pushing, without you explaining. Mystery builds influence because influence is not about what you declare, it is about what others perceive. When people can't quite put you in a box, they begin to elevate you in their minds. They attach a higher value to your presence, because they cannot categorize you like everyone else. Think about it. The people who captivate us most are not the ones who broadcast every detail. They are the ones who seem to carry something different, something untouchable. By not telling people exactly what you do, you allow your energy, your confidence, and your results to speak for you. And that is infinitely more powerful. Now, this doesn't mean you hide in the shadows or pretend to be something you're not. It means you understand the value of restraint. You know that words are cheap until they are backed by proof. You know that titles are meaningless until they are supported by results. So you allow others to discover you rather than explain yourself to them. Discovery is always more impactful than description. If someone discovers your value through your actions, through the way you carry yourself, through the results you produce, that discovery is etched into their memory. But if you simply describe yourself, your words are forgotten as quickly as they are spoken. When you resist the urge to tell people what you do, you create a tension, a good tension. It is the same tension that keeps an audience glued to a movie screen, waiting for the reveal. That tension makes you memorable. It makes you stand out in a world where everyone is shouting for attention, trying to sell themselves with words. You, by contrast, create silence. And silence is powerful because it makes people lean in. They want to know more. They chase the answer instead of you chasing their recognition. Think about the last time you met someone who told you very little about themselves, but carried themselves with absolute certainty. You likely thought about them long after the meeting. You probably felt compelled to learn more. Now contrast that with the person who over-explained, who dumped their entire resume into the conversation, who tried to impress you with information. One fades from memory, the other stays with you. That is the difference mystery makes. You must remember that influence is not about noise. It is about presence. And presence is not built by telling people what you do. It is built by showing them who you are. Mystery does not hide your greatness, it amplifies it. By not telling people everything, you invite them to see something bigger than a title, bigger than a job, bigger than an occupation. You invite them to see the essence of who you are becoming. And when people see that, they cannot help but be drawn to you. Mystery is not deception. It is wisdom. It is the wisdom of knowing that people value what they earn, and curiosity is the price they pay to earn the right to know more about you. Never rob them of that process. Let them ask. Let them wonder. Let them discover. Because in their discovery lies your true influence. When you step into the world and declare what you do, people will always measure your words against their own perspective, their own experience, their own bias. But when you let your results speak for you, there is no room for debate. A title can be dismissed, a claim can be ignored, but results are undeniable. They carry a weight that no explanation can match. You see, people are conditioned to listen with skepticism, but they observe with belief. They may doubt what you say, but they cannot doubt what you demonstrate. That is why the wisest approach is not to announce your greatness, but to reveal it through the work you do and the life you live. Results create credibility. You don't need to introduce yourself as someone important when your achievements are visible. You don't need to declare your worth when the evidence of your growth is clear. People respect results because results cannot be fabricated. They are the fruit of discipline, consistency, and action. When you walk into a room with quiet confidence, and others know the level of excellence you produce, your presence speaks volumes louder than any words could. That is why some of the most powerful people rarely feel the need to explain themselves. Their results have already paved the way for them. Think about the farmer who works day after day in the soil. If he were to spend his time telling everyone how great his harvest will be, how rich the soil is, and how committed he is to his work, those words would hold little meaning until the season changes. But when the harvest comes and his fields are abundant, no explanation is needed. The results testify to his labor, and the respect he gains is real because it is backed by proof. Your life is no different. It is not what you say about yourself, but what you produce that determines the level of respect and admiration you command. Another truth is that words often trap us in limitation, while results expand us beyond those limits. When you describe what you do with words, you reduce yourself to a box, a label, a category. But your results have no such limit. They can surprise people, they can grow beyond imagination, they can exceed what anyone expected. That's why silence about what you do keeps you free, while results prove your value in ways words never could. People may try to challenge what you claim, but they cannot argue with evidence. And the evidence of your work, your growth, and your accomplishments will always silence doubt. This principle also protects you from overpromising. Many people fall into the trap of speaking about their dreams and plans in such detail that they create expectations they haven't yet fulfilled. Then, when results don't appear, credibility is lost. By keeping quiet and focusing on producing, you reverse the equation. You surprise people with achievement instead of disappointing them with unfulfilled promises. When the results are visible, you never have to justify yourself. The work itself does the convincing. People may ask what you do, and instead of giving them a long explanation, you can let your life answer for you. Let the way you carry yourself, the confidence in your decisions, the quality of your work, and the impact you create become the true definition of your identity. It is far better to be known for results than to be remembered for words. Words fade quickly, but results leave a permanent mark. So, choose the path of proof. Choose to invest your energy in building outcomes instead of building descriptions. When you do, your life becomes a story that others want to read, and every result you create turns the page to a new chapter that speaks louder than any introduction you could ever give. Remember, it is not your title that earns you respect. It is your demonstration. Results are the true language of success, and when you speak through results, the world has no choice but to listen. Long before you explain what you do, people already feel who you are. Energy is the first introduction you ever give, and it is far more powerful than any words that follow. You can walk into a room and say nothing, yet the way you carry yourself, the certainty in your eyes, the calmness or enthusiasm in your presence, all of it speaks louder than the title on your business card. People respond to energy before they ever respond to information. That's why it is often said that you don't remember the words someone spoke as much as how they made you feel. The truth is, your energy precedes your explanation. And if your energy is strong, you don't need to over-explain what you do. When you lean on explanation, you are trying to convince people. When you lean on energy, you allow people to feel something that cannot be argued with. Convincing relies on logic, but energy bypasses logic and goes straight to belief. Someone might doubt your words, but they cannot deny the feeling your presence leaves behind. That's why certain people inspire trust instantly. They radiate certainty, and that certainty is a result of alignment between what they think, what they believe, and how they live. Think about the people you admire. Chances are, what impacted you most wasn't the words they spoke about their occupation, but the power of their presence. You sensed their confidence, their clarity, their purpose. They could have said very little about what they did, but you walked away feeling uplifted, impressed, or inspired. That is the power of energy. It sells without selling. It communicates without words. It makes people lean toward you instead of you leaning toward them. Now, how do you build that kind of energy? You cultivate it by working on yourself, not your explanation. Your energy is the result of your inner state. When you are confident in your vision, certain of your direction, and committed to your growth, that certainty radiates outward. People can sense it before you open your mouth. That is why you must focus less on creating a perfect description of your work and more on building a powerful inner foundation. A strong energy cannot be faked, and a weak one cannot be hidden. Your energy is always broadcasting, whether you're aware of it or not. The danger of relying on explanations is that it often comes from insecurity. People feel the need to over-explain what they do because they hope to gain approval. But approval gained from explanation is fragile. It disappears as soon as someone questions your words. Approval gained from energy is unshakable because people trust what they feel. When you radiate confidence and calm certainty, others assume you know what you're doing. You don't have to tell them. They sense it. This is why some of the most successful people often remain vague about what they do. They don't rush to explain because they understand that their energy communicates more than their words ever could. They know that people don't buy into a title or a job description. They buy into certainty. And certainty is an energy, not a sentence. So the next time you meet someone new, resist the urge to define yourself with an explanation. Instead, focus on what you're radiating. Are you sending out confidence or doubt? Are you communicating certainty or confusion? People may not remember the exact words you used, but they will never forget how your energy made them feel. And long after the conversation ends, it is that energy that stays with them. Energy over explanation is not about saying less for the sake of mystery. It is about recognizing that the deepest level of influence comes from who you are, not what you say. If your energy is aligned, you don't need to tell people what you do. They will feel it. They will trust it. And they will want to know more, not because of your explanation, but because of the undeniable pull of your presence. There is a reason why keeping your vision to yourself is one of the wisest choices you can make. The moment you begin sharing your deepest goals and plans with others, you open the door to their opinions, their doubts, and their criticisms. And while some people may genuinely want the best for you, many will unintentionally weaken your resolve by projecting their own fears onto your vision. Every word of discouragement, every doubtful glance, every skeptical comment has the potential to plant a seed of hesitation in your mind. That hesitation grows into delay, and delay often kills more dreams than failure ever will. Protecting your vision from negativity is not about secrecy, it is about survival. When an idea is new, it is fragile. It's like a seed planted in the soil. It cannot withstand harsh winds or heavy pressure. It needs nurturing, sunlight, and quiet time to take root. If you expose it too early to those who cannot see what you see, they will step on it, whether knowingly or not. They will tell you it won't work, that it's too risky, that you're not ready, that you don't have the resources. And if you listen long enough, you'll start to wonder if they're right. Your dream loses strength, not because it wasn't possible, but because you allowed their voices to speak louder than your vision. Every great achievement has faced resistance, but those who succeeded were the ones who guarded their vision until it was strong enough to stand on its own. Think about an inventor working quietly in a workshop, or an entrepreneur sketching ideas on paper late at night. In the beginning, no one else can fully understand what they see. And that's the point. It is not their vision, it is yours. You were given the dream, not them. Expecting others to understand is like expecting someone else to feel your heartbeat. They cannot. Only you can. By keeping your plans private, you protect your energy. You avoid the trap of explaining yourself to people who are not qualified to understand your path. You conserve your mental strength for building, not defending. And you give yourself space to grow without interference. Negativity is contagious, but so is confidence. When you shield your vision from negative influence, you create an environment where only confidence, belief, and focus can thrive. That environment becomes the incubator where your dream can develop into reality. This doesn't mean you must walk alone. It means you must be selective. There is a difference between sharing your plans with those who believe in you unconditionally and broadcasting them to people who judge by limitations. Surround yourself with people who fuel your vision, not those who drain it. Even then, you don't need to tell them everything. Share results, not blueprints. Share progress, not promises. The fewer words you use, the stronger your actions will appear when they surface. Remember, once your vision produces results, it becomes undeniable. Critics cannot argue with success. Doubters cannot erase proof. When your dream manifests into reality, the same people who once questioned you will be the ones asking how you did it. And the beauty of this approach is that by then, you no longer need their validation. You will know that your vision survived because you protected it. So guard your plans the way a gardener guards fragile sprouts. Keep them covered until they are strong enough to stand the weather. Protect them from careless words and fearful advice. Your vision is too valuable to be placed in the hands of people who cannot see what you see. Protect it, nurture it, and let it grow in silence. When it is ready, it will reveal itself through results, and those results will speak louder than anything you could have explained. There is a unique kind of power that comes from surprising people with results instead of promising them in advance. When you announce what you plan to do, you create expectations in the minds of others, and with those expectations comes pressure. People begin to watch, to measure, to judge whether you are living up to the words you spoke. And often, those words set you up for unnecessary stress, because you now feel the need to prove something. But when you hold back, when you keep your vision close and work quietly, you remove that pressure. You free yourself to focus entirely on the process, And when the time is right, you reveal your results. That reveal creates shock, admiration, and respect in ways no promise ever could. Surprise is powerful because it carries an element of the unexpected. When people do not see your growth coming, when they are unaware of the depth of your work or the level of your commitment, the results you unveil hit them with greater impact. Imagine a student who never boasts about their preparation, but when the test results come back, they rank at the top. Or think of an athlete who trains quietly while others brag about their routines, and then on the day of competition, they outperform everyone. That moment of surprise holds far more weight than if they had been talking about their efforts all along. People admire proof. They are moved by demonstration. They cannot dismiss what is standing right in front of them. By choosing surprise over promises, you also guard your own energy. Talking too much about what you intend to do often creates a false sense of accomplishment. The mind feels rewarded for speaking the plan, even though nothing has yet been achieved. That's why many people get trapped in the cycle of speaking big dreams, but failing to follow through. They felt the temporary high of attention but never did the real work. By keeping silent, you deny yourself that false reward. You train yourself to seek satisfaction, not in talk but in achievement. This discipline strengthens your character and ensures that when people do notice your success, it is because of action, not announcement. Surprise also creates leverage. People pay more attention to outcomes they didn't expect. When you deliver results quietly and then reveal them, you capture attention in a way that feels fresh and authentic. You weren't asking for validation. You weren't seeking approval. You were simply building, and then one day, the evidence speaks for itself. That kind of influence carries more weight because it wasn't forced. It was earned. Another beauty of surprising others with results is that it silences doubters. Those who might have discouraged you, those who would have laughed at your goals, are caught off guard by your success. They have no chance to pour negativity into your journey because they never knew what to attack. By keeping quiet, you gave them no target. By revealing results later, you left them with nothing to do but acknowledge what you accomplished. So understand this: promises are cheap, but proof is priceless. Every time you hold back from telling the world what you're going to do, you are investing in the element of surprise. You are building anticipation without even trying. And when your results finally surface, they will speak with a volume your words could never match. People will respect you not for what you said you would do, but for what you actually did. That is the lasting impression. Choose surprise as your strategy. Work quietly, prepare diligently, and let your success arrive like thunder after silence. Because in the end, the power of surprise is that it transforms disbelief into admiration and silence into applause. Growth is not about how well you can explain yourself to others. It is about how deeply you can commit yourself to the process of becoming. Too often people spend their time trying to craft the perfect words, the perfect introduction, the perfect way of describing what they do. They pour energy into making others understand them, when in truth, that energy could be invested in building the life they want. Every moment you spend explaining is a moment you could have spent creating. Every sentence you speak in defense of your path is energy you could have poured into walking that path with confidence. The truth is, people don't really care about explanations as much as they care about outcomes. They may listen politely when you describe what you do, but it doesn't truly register until they see what you've become. That's why it is wiser to invest your focus in growth rather than in words. When you grow, when you evolve, when you let your results speak, no explanation is necessary. People notice without you trying to make them notice. They are drawn to the visible transformation, not the verbal justification. Becoming is a process of action. It requires you to do the quiet work day in and day out, the kind of work that most people never see. It is in those unseen hours where character is shaped, discipline is forged, and skills are refined. Explaining yourself to others does not accelerate that process. In fact, it often slows it down. The more you talk about what you are going to do, the less urgency you feel to actually do it. Talking gives you a false sense of progress, as though words could replace action. But becoming demands more than conversation. It demands consistency, commitment, and the humility to let your results reveal themselves in their own time. When you stop explaining and start becoming, you shift the focus inward. You no longer depend on external approval to validate your journey. You no longer need others to understand or agree with you. Your energy is redirected toward growth, and that shift creates momentum. People may not know what you're working on, but they will see a difference in you. They will feel the confidence, the strength, and the clarity that come from genuine progress. And when they ask, you won't need to explain. You can simply let your life do the talking. The danger of constant explanation is that it roots you in the opinions of others. You become reactive, adjusting your path based on how people respond to your words. But when you focus on becoming, you build from within. You operate with an internal compass, not an external map. You trust the process, even when others don't see what you see. And over time, that process transforms you into someone who doesn't just talk about potential, but demonstrates it. The most respected individuals are not those who endlessly describe their goals, they are those who live them. They let their work, their discipline, and their results create a story that no explanation could ever capture. Their lives became the message. And that is the highest form of influence. When your life communicates more than your words, people listen in silence. They study your example. They learn from what you've become, not from what you've said. So discipline yourself to focus less on telling and more on doing. Channel your energy into the daily habits that shape your future. Protect your vision by nurturing it with action instead of explanation. And trust that, in time, the person you become will speak louder than any introduction you could have given. In the end, the world doesn't remember who talked the most about what they were going to do. The world remembers those who became living proof of their words.